Hi, this is Gary Williams with Tacsim Magazine at SHOT Show 2020, and we're here with Jim Ryan, and he has some great solvents. Matter of fact, we are going to be using them at our SHOT Show pre-show for our range day next year. We're really excited about it. And Jim, can you tell us some about our products here that we have?
Sure. First up, what we have here is our standard base oil, and it's called HLP. And it's 100% aerospace synthetic based oil. And then we put anti-wear and high friction additives in it along with antioxidants. So this isn't going to break down over time, especially once it's been opened with oxygen. So this bottle literally could sit in storage for 20 years. And while you might have a little settling, you could just shake it up and it's as good as new. The other thing that's great about it is it won't evaporate. So if you put it on a gun and the gun sits away for a little while, you don't have to worry about it gumming up and getting sticky like, a lot of traditional oils that you're used to. You buy a brand new gun and you get it and it takes 2 hours to clean all the old oil off because it's sticked up. But the great thing too is we got a real high temperature range that this can work because of the base oil that we use. So this is good down to like minus 60 Celsius. But the high-end range is well over 500 degrees. So that's pretty important, especially a lot of waterfowlers or cold weather hunters, they use this because other oils, they go out there, they've oiled up their gun, it starts dropping below freezing, and all of a sudden their gun's not cycling properly because everything is gelled up on them, and that's not going to happen with this. The other thing is it's not going to evaporate. So here again, you're not going to end up, if you leave it, it's not going to get all sticky on you and cause malfunctions.
Right, start to become like Cosmoline that's all gummed up.
Right. And you oil a gun to make it actually work efficiently. So the last thing you need is to put an oil in your gun that's going to actually clog your gun up. The other nice thing about this particular oil is once you've oiled your gun a few times with it, it leaves little tribofilms over the metal and it just kind of seals the surface. So when you're shooting, after a while, you'll notice like you get black gunk coming out of the gun. And what that is, that's literally the carbon not sticking to the metal, and it's actually in the suspension of the oil, kind of just working its way out. So it makes cleanup after a couple of applications really easy. Just wipe it down and you're good to go.
Oh, that's going to be a very welcomed item right there, trying to clean the rifles when you're done.
Right. And then that'll take us on to our new solvent, because obviously at some point you have to clean your gun. Now, a lot of our market has always been the competition shooter, and they do not clean their guns. They just keep squirting oil in over and over again until eventually it just stops working. I think they feel it's like voodoo. If they clean their gun, something might go wrong. But what this oil is, a lot of solvents are designed to break down in solvency, greases and oils and carbons, and then they evaporate off, leaving bare metal. So I wanted to take a different approach. This solvent is actually based on a synthetic oil, so it's super, super thin, and then we put an anti-corrosion additive in it that uses polarity to protect the metal, and then there's literally a solvent in there that's a synthetic solvent. So the idea is you would spray down your gun parts with that. That thin oil is going to stick to the metal now instead of just running off, and that allows the anti-corrosion and the synthetic solvent to start working into the carbon and breaking it down. So if you haven't cleaned a gun in a while, you can spray this on, leave it on for 5 minutes, give it a quick brush in, maybe give it a second spray, let it set a few more minutes, and then you can just wipe everything down. And then not only does it pull away all the carbon and gunk, but it leaves a real thin protective coating on the firearm. So if you potentially might put the gun away and plan on not using it for a while, you can come back later knowing it's not going to be rusted. It's also not going to be gummed together and dried out, because that stuff will not dry. And I think that stuff doesn't freeze to minus 75 degrees. So the evaporation rate is very, very low. So that works really well. And then the other new product we have is our Tri-Cal grease. And what we did here, this is our synthetic HLP oil, and it's in what's called a calcium sulfonate thickener. So most thickeners are typically lithium or complex lithium grease, which are great, but we want to do something a little bit different. This is a slightly more expensive grease base that's used in bearings for aerospace, and by itself it has very good anti-corrosion properties, but at the same time high pressure and anti-wear properties as well without any extra additives. And then of course with our oil in there, it just adds to the quality of it. But what's really neat about this grease, it's great for maritime operations, because doing ASTM testing for washout rates, this is usually well less than 5% washout rate with heated salt water. So anything that would be maritime, like whether it's duck hunting guns, fishing reel equipment, or just firearms that are going to be around salt water or any kind of water, this is going to be great stuff. For your locking lugs, your sear mechanisms, things like that, and that's what we promote it for. So that's all of our new items. And then the one other grease that we have, which we've always had, this is our Chemical X, and this is a complex lithium based, but what it does, there's a company that developed a nanoparticle that's patented, and we buy that from them, and we mix it in with our grease. And what it is, it's a tungsten disulfide, which is a little metal, and in the nanoparticles, it's almost like a little ball bearing of sorts, and it's layered like an onion. So under friction and pressure, those little layers unravel themselves, and they flatten out on the metal, and they fill in all the little asperities in the metal. And then that keeps that friction going and protected. But what's neat about this stuff is, once it's applied to the gun, it can handle well over 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and it can also handle well below 100 below zero as well. Now,
So basically a summer in Arizona.
Exactly, summer in Arizona. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to try to pump it out of here at minus 100, but once it's already on the gun and spread out, it's going to do what it's supposed to do for you. So, so that's been a very good seller of ours. So, and then I think, as far as that goes, that's basically it. We also have our water-based biosolvent. It's a great solvent. It's excellent in ultrasound tanks, and we sell it in a concentrate form, so that way it doesn't kill people for shipping, and they can just break it down with water. And even since it's water-based, we do put an anti-corrosion additive in here, so when it evaporates, once you take the gun parts out, if you don't have time to get it back together and get it oiled right away, that anti-corrosive layer is going to sit on there and at least protect the metal for a little while you're getting ready. So, but it's a great cleaner. So I think that covers everything.
Okay.
Any pointed questions?
No, we've got the good information from you. We really appreciate you, having the time to talk to us and everything,
Gary,
Jim.
thank you so much.
And we are very excited to have them be our lube out at our Tacsim range day for next year. So it's Gary Williams saying goodbye. We'll see you in a bit.